With that said, let's dive into Mark's build and take a look at what he's done here. I think it's just a really great build, Mark, and I'm so excited about it. So this is our friend Mark here, Mark Delozier, who I hope I pronounce your last name correctly, Mark. I apologize if I don't. But Mark shared this build with me, and it's just a lovely build. It's a very simple, straightforward build by the book. I really love all the features he incorporated. I love the raised core inside just a hollow brick bell, a hollow brick box. I think this type of construction really illustrates the simplicity of these rocket stove builds that we're starting to achieve these days. Another thing about your build, Mark, that I really love is the external use, the use of the chimney outside the brick box and the use of the T's to form that external bypass. And we'll see that in photos shortly here. So as you can see, this is the first photo in the build. He's got it just at the beginnings of a brick box with a platform raised up. I believe he's raised it up just on some brick pillars that he's built here. I pronounced it right. Fantastic, Mark. Thank you. And I don't remember, Mark, did you say this was I feel like you said it was a 7-inch build, although that sounds odd to me. Maybe it's a 6. It doesn't look like it's an 8. But I don't recall. I'm not looking at your email right now. I just got all your photos saved up. But at any rate, there's the first photo. It's a standard brick batch construction, built, I believe, probably right from Peter's website and probably right from Peter's size formula, which is a wonderful way to go. Okay, so this is a 6-inch. I apologize. I don't know why I thought it was 7. That must have been another email from somebody else. I do get a lot of build emails. So 6-inch build, really simple. You can see how it's just like stacking Legos, right, you guys? There's nothing to this. So another view of the simple platform for the firebox with the raised core within this brick box. We're going a little higher here, and now we're seeing his riser. Now, Mark has a riser that is one of our sort of older... oh, wait, am I mistaken? No, you did. You told me. Again, I'm trying to just remember all this from an email that I read a week ago, I think it was. But if I remember correctly, Mark, you told me that this is a riser sleeve that you purchased from Brian, I think. Brian Kopp, who is an old friend and follower here for many years. And I know he made a little run at selling some parts. And I'm not sure. I think he had some health issues. I hope he's doing fine. Brian, if you ever pay attention to this, hope you're doing good. But Brian did a neat thing and made riser sleeves and big insulated fire brick slabs and things like that available because he had a good local supplier. So Mark here has a riser sleeve for his riser. Now, I think riser sleeves make excellent risers, and if you have them, I highly encourage you to use them. However, these days I don't recommend them because they're really expensive compared to a 5-minute riser and or even just a board riser fastened into formed into a riser like I use in my plans. The riser sleeves are fantastic. I think they are. I actually still think they're the ultimate riser, but I don't think they're worth the price of admission because I think that a 5-minute riser is essentially the same thing for a fraction of the cost, and they're far easier to source. An interesting side note, you guys. I watched a 1970s John Travolta movie called Urban Cowboy the other day, and you guys may have seen it. It's a classic movie for us old guys. And what do I see John Travolta doing in 1979 for a living, his character, as it were? I forget what his character's name was. But he's an insulator, and he's working in the oil fields, and they show this scene where he's got all these riser sleeves and he's strapping them around the piping of the rig. And I just had this amazing, like, epiphany where, you know, I remembered learning about these riser sleeves and learning that they're used to insulate the end of the line of foundry and other things like that to keep the materials from cooling in the last section of their wherever they're flowing, to keep them from solidifying or whatever it's going to do in the flow. But at any rate, here I am in 2020, and we started playing with these riser sleeves back in 2010 or so, maybe about 10 years ago. And at the time I thought they were, like, you know, the most modern cutting edge material in 2010. And then I watched this movie of John Travolta in 1979, and he's just throwing riser sleeves around, you know, in the 70s. And I'm not 100% sure that they were ceramic fiber. I believe they were. They looked exactly like these. I just thought it was really, really cool. I'd never run into riser sleeves, of course. I'm not a roughneck, but yeah, it was a really neat little aside there. So if you want to see some riser sleeves in the wild, you can go watch Urban Cowboy. It was a pretty great movie. I really enjoyed it. So at any rate, here we are looking at Mark's build, and I'm talking about John Travolta. Sorry about that. So here we are, simple riser sleeve, simple brick box. And by the way, Mark, your brickwork is lovely. I really, really think it's fantastic, and I'm not sure where the rest of the pictures are. They're here in the folder. Oh, I think it got stopped up on the video. It looks like I don't have any more of the build photos, so we're just going to have to skip right to the finished photo. But here's the finished build, and this is such a cool build. I think it's so neat because it takes up a very small footprint, and yet it has a really great presence in the room, and it has a lot of radiating surface. It's just fantastic. So what Mark did here, he did a pretty traditional masonry heater type build. He's got standard red brick on the bottom here, up to about firebox level, and then he switches to fire brick on edge up here. Is that shiners? I think that's called shiners. Is when they put bricks on edge. I'm not a poor mason. You'll have to excuse me. But he's got shiners, fire bricks on edge for the top section. That's a really neat style of build. It does lead to a little bit thinner masonry skin for the top, so it's going to give heat out relatively quickly. It's also going to have a little bit less storage, but I think in his case he's got a lot of mass there, so storage shouldn't be an issue. And one of the things I love that he did, one, he added some shape to what's really just a simple brick box. This corbelled top, as you can see, stepping out with a single layer of what I assume is red brick, and then stepping out again with another layer of shiner fire brick, really gives the stove just a detail that gives the body some really nice shape. And then my very favorite thing probably about this build is the way he built the top, which is he used a significant amount, I don't remember exactly, I want to say there's 2 inches all told, of ceramic fiber. I think he used both board and wool, but I don't remember. Pardon me for missing the details there, Mark. But at any rate, by insulating the top of the bell, he's both pushed heat down the sides of the stove so he can get more heat radiating out of the side of the stove, and he also made it so that, one, his ceiling is safe. He doesn't need to worry about clearance up there, and it's cool enough that he can now store wood up there to dry it. So he did ceramic fiberboard and wool, I believe. It could be either or both, like he did. And then he just used a simple steel sheet over the top of that ceramic fiberboard to form the lid. There's no fasteners, and there's none needed because the wool will make a great seal. And in that way, you can just peel that top off. Mark was the one who shared this and thought of it. I think it's a great idea. And my designs have similar, although they have heavy masonry tops. But he simply just places that sheet of metal over the top of that insulation, and in that way it's really easy to get inside for inspection and or service if it doesn't need it. Oh, you guys aren't seeing the finished photo. I apologize. I need to change my let me go back to the main cam and close that one. And it only, once I switch, it only sticks with me if I, there we go, there's the finished one. Sticks with me if I redo it. So there we go. So there's the finished build. Sorry guys, I was talking so much I missed the chat there. But at any rate, here's the finished build, and it's just gorgeous, right? That corbelled top, the like I said, he's got a piece of metal up there on top that firewood is sitting on, and I just think it's fantastic, Mark. I just love every bit of it. So as we can see here, here's another thing that I spoke about that I really like about this build, and this is Mark's excellent use of this external bypass. Now what you'll see is he's got two places where the chimney exits, one down low, one up high. He's got a simple butterfly valve right here, just one of those simple little flappers that goes in this upper T, and in that way he can open that for a bypass, get the stove drawing, and then close it down to pull off the bottom. So this is one of the simplest ways to do a bypass if you're trying to build a stove with, you know, the most basic construction and very simple features. I highly recommend this style of build. I think it's just a fantastic way to go. And Mark, I just love it. I love that you hung the tools right from the stove itself. I think that's fantastic. And you know, one of my favorite features, which I know is pretty common, but is your tiny hearth in front of your door. So all told, it's just really a wonderful build and some great examples of all of the things that we talk about here. Now, I think, Mark, you were the one who told me that you traded for this door, and the door is gorgeous. I just absolutely love the door. I think we have a close-up of it coming up here soon. But here's the bypass chimney configuration again, and here you can clearly see the change in the bricks. Really a neat build. Here's the door looking into it. Standard build. I love that Mark used the flat floor for ease of cleaning. You can always put those wedge bricks in there if you want. Here they are. And here's his burned out Cobra, and then he just used a little Cobra life extension piece that he just fit over the top of it to buy himself time for the rest of the season, which, Mark, I thought that was a genius move. You know, rather than agonizing over how to rebuild this whole thing, he just simply wedged that thing on top of it and said, good enough. And I love it. That will get you through the season, certainly, until you can, you know, maybe have Tom send you a RA331 or something like that. But I think it's just fantastic. Everything you've done here, Mark, I wholeheartedly endorse all of it. And here's a picture of the chimney and the shop that it's in, and burning full tilt. And of course, he's got a sort of a gray background, and we can't see much smoke. But